Hello, dear friends. It's so good to be back here again. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you. Thank you for your love and your support and all that you do here. This is Saffron Media, and we are here to give you the best, the most trending, exciting, reliable, and authentic happenings in Nigeria, especially in the areas of politics and many more. So ensure you stay tuned, relax, and get the best right from here. Yes, right here it says the military authorities owe us uniform, boot allowances. We can't afford housing scheme. So they tell army chief. Yes, you can see some of the reasons why our armies are not even fighting with the whole of their hearts, and why there seem to be a lot of confusion among them, why they face Boko Haram, because you can see that even among the military there's so much oppression, because now you can see how the military authorities are oppressing the other soldiers just because they are not up to their rank. It is unfortunate that things like this, we still have to struggle with things like this in the country. The level of corruption is so much that even in the Nigerian army, the same people you want to use to face deadly Boko Haram terrorists and bandits and even all manners or all kinds of criminals, yet you won't satisfy them to even motivate them to do what they need to do. Well, it is so unfortunate, but of course, we'll find out more details about this, how and why the soldiers are crying out to the army chiefs that they really need all of this. We'll be hearing all of these stories, but no one is taking all of this seriously. But it is good that they are crying out and Nigerians are hearing all of this. More details, guys, but please, if you have not subscribed, please ensure you do so. Give this video a thumbs up, turn on the notification bell so that you can get updated anytime we drop a new video. All right, guys, without further ado, it says right here, aggrieved soldiers affected by the Nigerian Army controversial welfare scheme, housing scheme, have lamented that the army is owing them uniform and boot allowances and still wants to make deductions from their salary in the name of a housing scheme. The soldier who spoke on Saturday on the condition of anonymity said the official statement of the Nigerian army that the soldiers were duly consulted on the scheme was not true, as nobody sought their consent or opinions. The soldiers also lamented that it was also a lie that the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, met the scheme in the pipeline when he assumed office in January 2021, adding that the controversial housing scheme is his brainchild. It was reported that on Friday, some of the aggrieved soldiers wrote a Save Our Soul letter to President Muhammadu Buhari over the Nigerian Army's planned deduction of their salaries to pay the fraudulent Nigerian Army welfare housing scheme. The soldiers, one sergeant, two corporals, two lance corporals, and one private in the letter obtained, had noted that the army planned to deduct between 15,000 and 49,000 naira monthly from their little salaries, which are not able to currently meet their needs. The personnel said the non-commissioned officers and the senior non-commissioned officers were the only ones affected, and they now find it difficult to feed their families and pay their children's school fees. From our major salary, they demanded that the army authorities reconsider the deductions. In a reaction by the Nigerian Army's Director of Public Relations, Brigadier General Mohammed Yerima, the army authorities had claimed that the soldiers were duly consulted. The current Chief of Army Staff met an army housing scheme in the pipeline and constituted a committee to understudy its feasibility and desirability. The committee subsequently designed the questionnaire for soldiers to bear their minds on the scheme and ascertain those interested in it. It was still at this stage of administering the questionnaire to soldiers that agent provocateurs seized the moment to demonize the scheme with toxic narratives, the army spokesman had stated. But speaking Some of the soldiers countered the army's position that the housing scheme was an innovation to swindle the lower ranks of their major salary. This is a welfare housing policy proposed by the Chief of Army Staff for the other rank cadre, which is to be compulsory, and monthly deductions will be made from every soldier's salary. No soldier was consulted on this. The officer cadre was exempted because most of us have houses of our own. Our scarce skills allowances is 100,000 naira every month, but we were short paid, one of them said. There was no housing scheme in the pipeline that new Chief of Army Staff met when he assumed office. No soldier was consulted, and questionnaires were not shared to sensitize or sample the opinion of troops. Our salaries have not been increased. We still buy uniforms and boots for ourselves. We live in dilapidated buildings. We've not been paid a uniform allowance and boot allowance. You are deployed to a company. The company pays sum of 150,000, but the commanding officer will pay each soldier 30,000 naira. Another soldier said. It is so painful and unfortunate that even in the Nigerian army, things are this bad. You can imagine the level of corruption, how soldiers are not being consulted, how they were not told on the next line of action the commander-in-chief is about to take, that is the army chief, is about to take. They just want to force it down their throats, and I want to force them to swallow a pill that they are not ready for. They said even their scarce skills allowance is 100,000 naira. That is their scarce skills is 100,000 naira allowances every month. Said, but they are short paid. They are only paid 30,000 naira. You can see that all of this is so unfortunate, even for many, because they were saying the many companies pays the sum of 450,000, but their commanding officer will pay each soldier 30,000 naira. Why are things like this in this country? Why can't we just do things that will move the country forward? Why do we have to cheat one another to get ourselves to be satisfied? You don't need to put another person down for you to, for you to go up. You have to always agree that things must get better. Pay them and even give them things to motivate them. How can a soldier be fighting for a country that they will have to buy a uniform for themselves? They will have to buy boots for themselves. They will have to feed themselves, feed their families, and yet they live their lives for the nation. You see, these are the things that they are keeping away from the public. But you can see that God, in His own mercy, is helping all of this to get exposed. And if all of this continues, who will want to join the Nigerian army? Now, people are joining because there's no job. They believe, okay, that is where they will get paid and all of this. But even in the midst of all of that, you can see how people are being oppressed, even in the army. Well, my dear people, that is it. Thank you so much for listening. Please drop your comment and tell us what you think about all of this. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Do have a pleasant time. Bye for now.